Benidorm. Okay, are you a lover? Dave, stop doing that. Are you a lover? Are you a hater? Are you a hater that's never been there and formed an opinion without giving it a go? Because many are like that with Benidorm. It certainly divides opinion. But what I will say is, other than America, my favourite three travel destinations will probably be Tenerife, a place I go in Turkey, and Benidorm. I think many don't like Benidorm, but they haven't given it a chance. There's loads for everybody. There's not just the nightlife on the strip. There's the old town, which is a lot more sedate, a lot quieter, where you can just have a drink, have something to eat and watch the world go by. Beautiful place. There's something for everyone. I would suggest anybody that hasn't been, give it a go. If you've been and you're watching this, you'll know how good it is yourself. It reminds me of a quick Turkey story, which I'll give you. For years and years and years, I didn't want to go to Turkey. I thought it would be crap. And then for about 7 or 8 years before I went, I thought, I think I'm going to like Turkey. I should give it a go. And it took me 7 or 8 years to actually make up my mind, and that isn't like me. But I had about 10 or 12 people coming back from there saying, of the 10, 8 would say it was brilliant. 2 would say they didn't like it. And then I'd think, well, of the 10 people, you're the 2 people that I don't think I want to go on holiday with. You're right boring buggers. And I thought, I better like Turkey. And I did. The place where you go, I love. More about that probably further down the line. But yeah, Tenerife I love. Benidorm I love. I think it's great. So what I'll give you, if you don't mind, I'll give you a couple of places to eat in Benidorm. But I'll give you a couple of places to eat that nobody else has ever mentioned. I've followed the Map Master because he does stuff there. Scott's been in Tenerife. I've seen a couple of vloggers, bloggers, whatever the hell they call, and they tend to eat in these places and so on and so forth. I'm never going to do that. You're never going to watch me eating or me comment on meals. It's just going to be me talking to you. All right, there's only a few yous now, but there will be more in time, I'm sure. I do hope anyway. But I'll give you a couple of places to eat that no one else has mentioned. I'll even give you somewhere to stay, which many of you might not fancy, but you should give it a go. And I'll give you 4 or 5 acts that I would look at when I'm in Benidorm. You'll know yourself if you've been there. These acts are plentiful in Benidorm. But I'll give you the ones that I think are the better ones. Many of you will have seen them. Many of you won't. If you haven't, at least check them out before making an opinion. And for those that haven't yet been to Benidorm, these are acts that I think, if you see any of them, you'll like them. You might not think they're the best if you see other acts, but you may well do. So anyway, we'll start with food. Where will we go with food? I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll give you 2, as I say, that you've probably not been to or not heard. One of them, and I'm not certain about its name, although I'm pretty sure, so I'll tell you where it is. One of them is situated behind the Presidente Hotel. Okay, I'm sure it's called the Steakhouse. Pretty basic name. I'm sure it's that, but I'm not certain. And what it is really, it's just like a shop size, a standard size shop. Mind you, I don't know what a standard size shop is. Like a small shop. It's probably only got 10 or 12 tables inside. It probably seats maximum 60 people, if that. It doesn't open until 5:30, maybe even 6 o'clock in the evening. And I think its last meal is about 11 o'clock at night. So it doesn't close really late. By 11:30, you're probably out on your ear. But what I love about the place is twofold. Firstly, the food is great. It's really, really great. I can't recommend it highly enough. And secondly, the price is brilliant. They do not stick the boot in. But when I say the price is brilliant, please don't think I'm pushing down somebody's throat a cheap and cheerful restaurant. I'm not into that. Normally, if you go somewhere where the food is cheap, it's cheap for a reason. The food is normally crap. This is not crap. It really is not. I don't eat in crappy restaurants. It's not high end in that you've not got all the fancy garnishes and the fancy presentation and the fancy sauces, but they do any meal from your bog standard meal all the way up to steaks. What I would recommend, if you've never been in there before, please try the set menu. They have a set menu there. It's a 3-courser. It's lovely. I mean, I must have had it 20 times in the last 10 years. I think I was disappointed with a sirloin steak once out of 20, but only once. But if it was bad enough, they'd have replaced it, but it wasn't bad enough to be replaced. I always have a set menu. 2 or 3 years ago, it was about a tenner. Last time I went, I think last year, it was about €12, which equates to about 11 quid. You can't argue 3 course for 11 quid, especially when it's nice. I won't tell you the full menu I have. You have what you want. But what I will tell you is this. I'll just give you one tip. If you like a soup as a starter, please, please, please look at ordering the tomato soup. This is from someone that isn't a tomato soup lover, but it's a big bowl, it's full of soup. I never leave a bit of it. It's the best tomato soup I've had in my life. And as I say, I'm not a tomato soup lover as a rule, but it's brilliant. I could have 3 bowls of it and no main course and no dessert. I've not done, because it would look a bit odd. I'd feel a bit odd, although I don't really care how I look. But I've not done, but I could. It's that nice. So as I say, for €12, it might go up to 13 or 14 now. Well worth the trip. The second, let me make sure I've got it right, because I shouldn't know. Yeah, I can see it there. I don't need my glasses. The second place, I don't eat in the second place other than breakfast. I only eat it for a breakfast. And this place, I'll tell you now, doesn't open until 12:30 every daytime. They're not bright and early risers, because it's a man and wife team. They do everything themselves. They tend to have no more staff. They work late nights, so they're not in as early as some in the morning. But it's probably the best breakfast I've ever had in Benidorm. For 20 years, I would say the best breakfast is the Yorkshire Pride. Everybody tends to go there, the one next to the winning post. They do a great breakfast at a fair price. This is probably even better. It just edges it. But I think I like the young lady that runs the bar as much as anything else. She's great. Anyway, the bar's run by Miguel, obviously Spanish lad, and Karen, his wife. I think Karen's from Wythenshawe, so she's a lovely northern girl. I like a northern girl, from being from the north myself. And it's called the Sun Inn. It's only, again, a smallish bar. It's opposite the brand new hotel there in Benidorm called the Hotel Arcos. It's opposite reception and about 15-20 yards down. It's a crackerjack of a bar. I've watched some sports at night times there. They're brilliant hosts. The prices aren't expensive for food or drink. In fact, I have had a burger there before a couple of times when I've been watching the sport. Yeah, I have in the afternoons, and that was lovely as well. But the breakfast is fantastic. And I got something there of Karen that I've never had at a breakfast before. I got on that well with her. I'm a fussy person, a fussy eater, although I like my food. I have tomatoes with my breakfast, but done a different way than anybody else does them. And I asked her, could she do it about 3 or 4 years ago. She couldn't work out what I wanted. She actually brought me the tomatoes for me to prepare, and then she cooked them. I've never had anybody else do that before. Definitely won't happen in GB, with what were the health and safety people, not health and safety, hygiene people, whatever it is, they won't let you do it, but Karen did. A wonderful, wonderful breakfast. As I say, she's not on first thing, about 12, half 12, so you're getting a later breakfast, but it's well worth it, I promise you. So there's 2 food places. Hotel-wise, well, I've already mentioned it. It's the one opposite Karen's place called the Hotel Arcos. If you get a chance, stay there. It's brand new. It's a little bit dearer than the norm, but as I said, that's probably because it's brand new, but also it's definitely a 4-star. I think it's 5. I think it's a 5-star. I think it is. Let me just itch my eye. I'm sorry about this. But it's worth a stay, and I'll tell you why. It's brand new, as I say, firstly. Secondly, it's only about 50 rooms. Thirdly, it's got a brilliant downstairs bar. It's on a big terrace there. You can watch the sport there and watch the world go by. Wonderful big screens, wonderful sound, wonderful everything else. There's another bar right next to the top of the hotel where you can watch any sport you want and have a nice quiet drink. Each time I went there, it was quiet, but we wasn't in full season. But it was great atmosphere, a great place to be, should I say. Above that, you've got the sun terrace at the top, which has its own pool, own jacuzzi. Again, you can watch the world go by. The views are fantastic. But the 2 things I like most about the hotel is the room sizes were brilliant, but well, bigger than brilliant. They were great rooms, and obviously being brand new, it was really plush. But what I loved about it more than anything else, we were on the side of the strip, of the main strip there, and probably only 50, 80 yards away from the strip. At night time, as you know, if you go Benidorm, it can get very, very, very noisy. We had a big patio to our room, and I've never known a patio like it in the whole of Europe, in the whole of the UK, to be honest with you. Whereas when you close that door, you couldn't hear a thing, and I do mean a thing. It was better. The old ones will know the old 10 malt thing from the Everest, where you're not supposed to be able to hear anything and whatever else. Well, you can in normal patios. With these patios, you can't. I don't know how they were insulated, but they were better than anything I've seen. You know, if you've got a light sleeper or somebody that's not up till really, really late and let's go to bed and don't want to hear all that noise, it's fantastic for you. So the Hotel Arcos, brilliant. We did pay for bed and breakfast, although I never eat breakfast in a tent. I not like breakfast in hotels. I had it there once. I shouldn't have done because I knew I wouldn't like it. It was better, more than me not liking it. It was minging. I thought it was crap. I'd never go bed and breakfast again. I'd just go room only if they let you. But a great hotel, a little bit more than the norm, but not mega expensive. Axe, I'll do very quickly with Axe. The The best act I've seen in Benidorm, and probably one of the best acts I've seen anywhere throughout my life, is a duo called the Cabai Two Brothers. If you've been there, you've probably seen them. If you've not, you should see them. And if you've not been there, look out for them. There's a bit of a backstory with these guys, and it's not my business, but I'll tell it you very quickly. I mean, I think they've had a fallout a few years ago. They seem to get on great before, so they are brothers, but they don't tend to play together anymore. I think they both do their own shows separately in most evenings, and then 2 or 3 times a week, I think they meet up for like a 1:30 show in wherever. We seen them at the Western Bar last year about 1:30 in the morning, and one of the brothers was much later than the other. We had to wait around for it, but I knew they'd be good, so it was worth waiting around for. It's weird. They don't talk whilst they're on stage, they don't look at one another, but it still doesn't affect what they do, and they do a fantastic show. And what I love about them is, as I say, the talent. They must play about 8 to 10 instruments between them, which is almost unheard of. And they have about 4 or 5 different sets every night. You know, they'll do a set of all greatest hits. They'll then do a country and western set. Then they'll do a set of Queen songs only. And then they'll do a competition between Bon Jovi and Beatles songs, and they'll sing songs by both. They're brilliant. They've got masses of talent, and they're great to watch. If you get a chance to see them, see them. They're just phenomenally good. The next best would probably be Carnaby Street. Great act, a 2-piece. I think they might not be the original Carnaby Street, but I might be wrong about that. They play a bar there in Benidorm. I think they're on 5, 6, maybe all 7 nights a week. They do a 2.5 hour set. They do from the Jam to all the sort of things like Year Madness and all those kind of bands, all the way through to The Who. Excellent. As I say, they do 2.5 hours, and when the place is full, and it more often than not is, the place is banging. Everyone's up and dancing. It's great. The atmosphere is fantastic. They're really, really good. I don't tend to watch tribute acts. I'm not normally a lover of them, but I'll give you 2. One of them I seen last year as an afterthought. We walked past the place. They didn't look like the tribute act they were supposed to be. They didn't really sound like them. So I thought, I don't think I'm going to fancy these. But we went in anyway. We were passing. They were brilliant. I don't know. They had something about them. Anyway, they were the Bay City Rollers tribute. I thought they were great. And another one, it's a staple of Benidorm. They've been there years now. I can't remember where they play. It might be Talk of the North, Talk of the Town, might be Stardust. It's one of those. I know where I can walk to it now, but I can't remember exactly where it is. Again, it's behind the President anyway. And they are the Beatles tribute. I think they're all Spanish lads, 4 Spanish lads, but don't let that put you off. They sound great. They look good. They sound even better. They do a late show every night. It's about 11, 12 o'clock. But they do a good hour and a half, and they go down fantastically every night. And there's always a lot in there. They're brilliant as well. Comedians. Well, the first I seen when I went to Benidorm about 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, was a guy called, and I thought it was great, one of the best I've ever seen at that time, a guy called Albie Senior. Great comedian, really, really funny. Owns the stage, great range of jokes, very blue, but very good. Great audience participation. He spends a lot of time having a pop at members of the audience, but they take it in good part. Great repartee. He was brilliant. And then 5, 6 years later, his act just changed. I mean, I say that it changed. The act stayed the same, but what he started to do was berating the audience for being noisy, for not listening to him. He had this thing of, there's an act on and you're not supposed to be talking. And he'd be shushing them all up, stopping his act. If a few wouldn't shush and he didn't like them, he'd send his bouncer to tell them off or to eject them. It was crazy, because his act just suffered because of it. And why he did it is beyond me. You know, he's got the mic, he's louder than them because he's got the mic. He's got a big booming voice anyway. He's a big personality. He's a big figure. He's well built. You know, why he had to constantly have him being quiet, I didn't get it. And it just spoilt his act, and he still does it, I think, to this day. If he concentrated on just telling jokes like he used to do and forgot about the ones that were talking, it'd be great. Because most people can't hear the ones that are talking, and more people are laughing than talking. But when he keeps stopping for people talking, people are stopping laughing because there's nothing to laugh at. And it's hard sometimes to get them back. He just spoiled his act doing it. I don't know why he did it. Another great comedian guy called Gary George. Really, really good. Really, really good comedian. Great fun. Not quite as blue maybe as a slightly older audience, but great comedian. And then Jimmy Bright. Another comedian, been there probably time flies. So if you had 6, 8, 10 years ago now, I didn't particularly like him 6, 8, 10 years ago. Told some good jokes, but wasn't great. He wasn't very polished. He was miles behind Albicini. Albicini was miles more professional. But I've got to say now, Jimmy Bright's come on bundles. Seen him last year and was very impressed. He's just totally different. He's a lot better. I think he plays underneath the Presidente. I can't remember what the club's called. It keeps changing its name. He's very good. He's probably the best comedian on the I nearly said island. It's not an island, is it? He's really good. So he's worth a viewing. And that'd probably be it. But all I would say to those that don't go to Benidorm and that call it, you can't call what you've not seen. Give it a go. I think you'll like it. And for those that want a proper insight, a better insight than I can give, there's a girl there that I follow called, I think, the Benidorm Enthusiast. I think she's called Lucy. She's really good. She does tours of the new Benidorm, tours of old Benidorm. She shows you bars that are just opening, brand new bars, restaurants that are just opening, shops that are opening. She does a bit with food where she'll review the odd food now and again, but that isn't really her bag. She leaves that to people like the McMaster and the Scotsman and a guy called Jeff Carter. They do that kind of stuff. She does more tours and tells you what's there and what's happening, so you know where you're at. But she shows you a lot of the old town, and as I say, it's a great place to unwind, to take it easy, to have a quiet drink and a nice meal and whatever. So there's chalk and cheese there, and you can experience any of it or all of it. It's the choice is yours. But if you follow her, she'll put you on the right path much more than I can. But there's some places to go, some things to do, some places to eat, and I don't think I've put you on a bum steer. I don't think there's anything there that you won't like. So if you get the chance, give any of them a go. Okay? That's it from me, and that's Benidorm wrapped up from me.